Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Gumbo's Flying Circus live stream. And on this lovely Sunday, which is it's not super hot, it's nice and cool, but it's still not horrible weather, which is nice. And I'm here this afternoon, just doing some mission building, and this is on the Persian Gulf map. I'm kind of using it as a learning tool, so I'm setting up a nice multiplayer mission to destroy an airfield, Iranian. And these here are my red guys, which are F-14s. And what I'm trying to do is set up a trigger so that when certain things happen in the mission, these guys will start taking off. So I want them to display, so they're spawned in, but there's no one there. And then I want them to go through the cold start, which doesn't take long for the AI, and go to the runway and take off and head out towards the coast, for where the blue force will then have a cap flying along here, and they can then engage those targets. Then once I've got that set up, I want a third over here that will come in, possibly over here. They're trying to get here, or they go up and come back down this way and come in towards the attackers. And this is my airfield. I've set up a couple of triggers around here, and it's got some SA-8s at the minute. So those are all the targets, because I want some A-10s and Harriers to go in. So I've set up a load of static aircraft. It's a red field. I've got armoured housing, bunkers, posts, BTRs for the AAA. And there's some roadblocks as well, which I need to go in and adjust, because they're slightly off centre. They're not really where they're supposed to be. So what I'm going to do is go to this airfield here where I've got my Harriers and A-10s, and here they are. So that one is Unit 3, and that's 1, 2, 3, and obviously 4. Let's just make sure that's got some supplies there. There they are. And here with some weapons and fuel available. So what I can do is move that one to here. I'm hoping. Nope, it's not going to let me do it. So let's just make sure that's got the right name in there. So if I turn that off, I wonder if it'll let me now. Nope, it just wants them all along that line. Sure, I've done something to stop that from moving, but the comms on 243. Yeah. So I want these to be on hot start. Just whilst I'm messing about with it. So he can go on 8 actually. And these are all on 3, 5 and 7. Just make sure they're all on client. Yeah, so let's put him back on 9. So all of these are a parking space, and that's the only apron in this airfield. So I could stick some static objects in here actually. So it would be good if these were parked here. So I wonder if I could move. So if I change that to, oh no, won't let me. It wants them to be at a specific place. There's no point putting anything in here due to the fact that these guys need to be able to, I suppose they could go along here and taxi around there. It's a shame there's no way to change the heading so they just face this way. These are all facing this way. It'd be nice if they're facing this way, but I'm not sure how to do that. So that's the start. And they've got there. So we could start these out with a payload actually. So what looks good for an attack? AGMs and GBUs. There we go. Which isn't a great deal for the A10, but it's just for a start. And we want to change this as well, don't we? So let's change it to a reality based skin. They're going to be going over the sea, so they want that kind of thing. Yeah, that's alright. 104th. So what else we've got here? That's the Nevada. That's Georgia. Louisiana. Another Nevada. Arizona. Yeah, that's alright. Ammo type. Combat mix, high explosive. Target practice, what's high explosive? So they'll have a combat mix. So that's number 3. Go to number 2 and he can have the same. Or should we give him something a bit different? Yeah, let's give him that. And then go and give him a similar skin. There we go, and go to number 1 now. Give him the same skin. And some weapons. Which ones should we give him? Let's have a look. GBU, same 9s, GBU 31s. Yeah, let's give him that. Let's give him that one actually. Yeah, there we go. And that makes sense. So that's all going to look nice. So we just save that now. I've got all them set up. So I'll just double check that I've got hot start, so when I'm spawning I can just get going and test this out. Now they usually say press fly, but I like to do it the other way around like this. So we're okay that. So we get into the Harrier, fly towards my target, see if I can trigger it. I don't care if I get shot down, it's just to test the trigger. But if not, I've got to go back in and adjust the settings and do some research and see why that might not be working too well. This will just take a little bit of time to load, it won't take too long. I've got SSDs, but it's the first time I've loaded it in today. See, it doesn't take long at all. And here we go, so I want the AV8B. This is the carrier, and I've got loads of static objects and a AWACS starting off, and then that's followed by a refueler, a couple of planes there, and all along there, some helicopters, just to make it look nice. So we go to Buick. And we fly. So center my controls here. Turn the disco off. So I've got the weather set as well. There's a bit of turbulence and there's some mist and some cloud, although those clouds don't stay. I've got to see if there's a script or something I can put in to make that better. I'm not sure if there is anything, it's just an issue with DCS, but I think the mist makes it look a lot different and a lot nicer and more realistic, and you can really see distance now and scale. So all the Harriers will be another one here, one there and one over there, and then the A10s will be aligned up across here. There's not really any room to put anything else. Maybe something over there, or that one there, those two there might have, yeah, that might be an idea. Then I could have something landing when you spawn, and just to make it coming in from over there, just landing like a supply aircraft or something and park it. I don't know. Anyway, let's check the F2 view. So there goes that, there goes that. He's taxiing to the runway. And now I've got on this field, when it all spawns in, some static objects. The refuelers for different aircraft, which go to a nice little place. But I think that looks nice with that. I'm not sure how it would perform on a server, but it looks good. Looks really nice. Maybe I should have one of them transporters land and an AWACS land and go park up, take one of those out. But basically the military's taken over at the airbase, airfield, and so we've got some tornadoes and some more Hornets, B-52s there, C-17s. Just gives a nice feeling of scale. Look how small a tornado looks here. These things are pretty big. And there's the Hercules, the refueler. Different aircraft types, plus I've got one off the carrier for 2 Hornets that are on the carrier. So those guys haven't spawned in. I've put late activation, so let's see what happens. if I head out towards where I need to be. How if I put nose wheel steering on, put the flaps on. So this is a pretty big area. It doesn't, when you look at it on the actual mission planner, it doesn't look too big. But when you're here, it looks pretty big. So we'll just come up and move around here. So when right at the end of the runway, and you know you want to take off that way because of the mountains, really. But my the wind I've got in here accounts for that, as it's all headed south. So let's just go for a nominal takeoff, shall we? See if I can get it in the air, just as standard. Oh, see that there's lots of wind. Get it up in the... Oh, I hit the tail. Doesn't matter, I'm just... Need to try this out. Just put the... turn that off. So you can see that the wind is pushing us to the right, and there's a little bit bumpy there. I might increase that. So we need to head out towards the target area. See if we can trigger it off. Keep the speed up. So basically, I want those bad aircraft, those enemy, to spawn once you reach a certain point in a certain aircraft. So let's turn the lights off, we don't want to be running around like a Christmas tree. There we go. And of course in the actual mission there's going to be cold starts just to give the other assets time to get into position. So it's great learning. And you see that haze, and it's about 30 odd degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning in Dubai. In this area it's hot and humid, hence the haze. Alright, so let's just plod on along. It's about 20 miles, won't take us long. We'll see if this trigger activates. So I want my deck and pod just to so I can get close and not fired on straight away because of the SA-8s. And then we're heading just towards a little island which is just off the airfield that the attack is meant to happen from. And you see the slower, smaller aircraft will only have a little jaunt across the ocean here. You have to excuse me, I also have a bit of coffee. Vanilla latte, very nice. Oh, I do like my vanilla lattes. So there we go. That's looking nice. And I think the more realism layers you put in, the better. There's a little stutter there. Might be due to my settings at the minute. Have to have a good look round, centre my view. I should really put a trigger label on it that pops up and says XYZ's happened, but it doesn't. It's not very realistic. I mean, you wouldn't actually, someone turn around and go, hey, these are just taken off. First you'd hear about it is when the AWACS calls, which is kind of the point. Right, how far away am I now? Without crashing, hopefully. Yeah, so it's about here. So I need to get in close, low and close, and see if they trigger. And because we're low, there's that little tiny little bit of turbulence just jigging us about, and I'm 10 feet off of the sea there. Right, we've got a launch on us. So I just want to get close enough to try and trigger that off. Let's eject. See that? And if you go down when SAM launches on you, it hits the deck. So if you're at a certain height and you go down, it wants to lead pursuit, and so you can kill it that way or keep moving and things like that. Anyway, did they trigger? Oh no, lots of houses in the water, flood. Oh no, it's right. There we go, and there's the second air refueler taking off as per how I've wanted it to be from that air base at the start of the mission. So they're going off and getting into position. There's that one. Nope, they haven't triggered. Which is a pain. So I need to find out what I'm doing wrong. Apparently triggers are a bit of a pain in the neck when it comes to DCS. But we'll see. Let's get into this one. Right. So the thing is, see, they're all the way up here, so they've got a little bit of a trek to go, but I don't want them spawning straight away. I want them in. See, if you turn that off, late activation. Alright, let's have a look. So we don't want one. Right, let's have a look and see if anyone can tell me online. So I want AI triggers. Okay, so we want AI tasking. So just having a look through, see if there's anything about it on this page that I found. No. Just looking to see where the trigger thing is. No, this doesn't talk about what I want. So we go to the user manual and have a look through. There must be a way to set up these triggers. Set triggers. Page 80. Oh, let's get right down there. Oh, too far. Way too far. Alright, let's have a look. Create a new trigger, create conditions for the trigger, create the action that will result from the trigger. Okay. So let's see. Let's start this again from scratch. Right. New trigger. So we can have it set to once. Yeah, let's set it to once. And the event. So we may not need. Yeah, continuous means it will just keep spawning all the time. And switch condition. Oh yeah, we don't need switch condition either. Okay, so I had it set wrong. So we need it on once. So we don't need set events. Okay, so that's that one. And that's the second one. Ah, I wonder. Okay, so if we just save that a sec. If we go into the list and unhide these. Okay, so we want and we don't want to hide it at the minute, do we? So put that one in there and save that. Then we go into the list again, go to that one and name that. Okay. Now how big's that radius? See, it should trigger when we get to about here. That's a bit big, so let's go hide that one a minute. So we want to make that smaller. Yeah, so just by the waypoint. So make that one the same. Okay, so that's trigger zones. So if we go now to there, alright, let's go new. New. Okay, so conditions. Press the new. Okay, so we're doing a trigger zone, aren't we? Let's see. Want part of group. So blue. We want part of the grouping zone, and that one can be for Buick and Buick trigger zone. And then we need another one that says blue part of the grouping zone, and that'll be them and that one. So that makes sense. Yeah. So then we need to go down and look at actions. I mean, it seems quite intuitive, but it just doesn't trigger, which is annoying. Okay, so let's press the new button. So on that one, and then that one. Okay, so what that means is it's got AI task set or push, and it hasn't got that in the manual. So when Buick get in the trigger zone, Shark take off, and when Hammer gets in the trigger zone, Razor starts. So we can set up another trigger actually. There. Oh, okay, I've done that wrong. Right, so that needs to come out, and that needs to come out. Crap. And that needs to come out. So new part of grouping zone, Buick trigger zone. Right, second one, new part. I'm a new AI task set Razor. So that's that one for Shark, that one for Razor. We can delete that one. So in actions also you can set it for a message. I don't need that one. So where is it? Message to coalition, blue. Now I've got to remember what the cat flight's name is. Oh, it doesn't matter, I can change it later. So that needs to come on for a good 20 seconds. Clear view. So when this trigger goes, a message will come up once that's happened. And we need to do the same with this one, so let's find a message. Message coalition, blue. Eyes north. Good luck. We'll have that come up for a good 20. So Harry's go in and get rid of do the seed stuff. Then they can go back and get other munitions. A10s go in and start clearing the area. Got a cat flight up, and those two flights go in when the cat flight's up, so the first one triggers the first wave and the second one triggers the second wave. So if we save that, just make sure that they're not hidden now. Maybe because they were hidden, that's why they weren't going. So let's just check some options here. So civilian traffic off, GFX simulation, birds off. Don't want that. Don't want that. Oh, let's put those on so people can't select. So we don't want that valley one. Fog of war. Tooltips, they're always handy. Okay, let's save that. Right, let's try again and see if that triggers this time. So we go to mission. Okay, start. Right, if I get into the Harrier now, and we'd go and test that trigger. But £1,000 it doesn't work. So let that spawn in. Oh, that's nice. Right, I like the weather I've put in here actually. It's looking quite nice. Okay, so let's have a look. They're all off. Right, there's the bad guys. And when my aircraft gets within a certain trigger zone, I want 2 of these to start spooling up and taking off. That's the idea. Sounds simple. Not so much. So let's take off. Get rid of that disco. Let's get the flaps on and the anti-skid. So I'm going to take off and just go over to that trigger zone and see if I can get it to work. But those trigger zones were hidden before, so that might be why it wasn't happening. But it'd be nice if that was the case, but I've got a feeling it's going to be a little bit more tricky. Very nice. I love the Persian Gulf map. Really does look good. Plenty here as well. You get a bit of everything: sea, hills, flats, tons of sand. So let's go to the F10. So the trigger zone doesn't show up on here, which is nice. And that's a red airbase, of course. So we need to get within this sort of area here. And of course the F-14s are up there. So we're just doing normal conventional takeoff. Oh hey Kato, how's it going? Yeah, fly together at some point. Just doing some mission building today. Trying to learn how to do it. There we go, we're up. Oh, hey Shifty, thanks for the host. Good to see it. Okay, let's go and see if this has worked. Hello, how's it going, Shifty? Just dabbling in some mission building. I'm trying to set up a trigger. And then when you fly into the zone, some AI aircraft take off. So I want to see if this will actually work, or if I'm living in cloud cuckoo. Oh hey Wrecking Ball, how's it going? Good to see you. Yeah, going well. Just been building missions. Put in the weather, which I think a bit more hazy looks nice. Yeah, just testing out a trigger here. Yeah, I think I've looked through the manual, and you know, it says put this trigger, this condition, this action, and I've set it up also with the AI to start with action and things. So, but it's good to work it out because it's more learning, I guess. You know. Oh, you ordered a 1080 last night, Wrecking Ball. Wow. Oh, that's going to be a monster of a card, isn't it? Absolute monster. I mean, look, I'm getting, when I'm not on a multiplayer server, I'm basically getting 50 frames per second in high settings on a 1070 Ti. So you're going to absolutely eat it up. Yeah, when I ordered this one, I couldn't wait to get hold of it. It's absolutely fantastic. But I've set up a little dialogue in the trigger as well, so that when if it gets triggered, it comes up with a message to say that such and such is scrabbling, so I can see if it works. But apparently these are a bit finicky, so we'll see. So I've got the AWACS, I've got the refueler, another one, another one. And if they load in, me baddies. So I have to see what happens. No, yeah, you don't see the black sharp much anymore. It doesn't show up in missions and things much. But yeah, go for it. That sounds good. If you've got you know, a good internet and you've got a decent card, you're streaming no problem at all. But my CPU handles the streaming side of things for the encoding. I do it on the software H.264. Yeah, I've got the K50, but I dabble in it once every blue moon. But that's about it. So I just need to get to this trigger zone. It's quite close in. Actually, I'm going to go down because I've set up SAMs in the area. So I just want to get there without getting shot down. A bit of turbulence there, so you get a bit of shake, which is quite nice. Oh really? Is that using the rockets with the laser designator? Right, it says a scrambly cat flight fencing and good luck. Aha! Right, let's let this get shot down. So that worked. Let's see what they're doing. Oh yeah, they're going. Oh, you know, I've tried so many times to get this to work. So I might need to turn that down a little bit. That's getting loud. Well, it's getting loud for me anyway. I don't know if you think it is. No, let's go to the... Yeah, look, the trigger worked, finally. After about 8 attempts. Yeah, so when that flight gets within that zone, the F-14 scramble, and then you'll have a cap flight in the area, then the Harriers go in, 2 trigger, then A-10s go in after they've got rid of the SAMs, and 2 more F-14 scramble, and so it keeps the cap busy. Ground pounders are kept busy. If the cap fails, these will kill the ground pounders. So it's quite the idea is I think it's quite good. I don't know if that would be boring, but the idea is there. But I'm just trying out different things, and I'm so glad that's working now. Oh yeah, Shifty does all your triggers, does he? See, that's the thing. It's when you know, you know. Yeah. Oh, super pleased. Yeah, I was trying to get this to work last night and gave up. But yeah, Iranian F-14s scrambling to the F-18 cap. And I've got 2 F-18s on a carrier, and they're doing a runway strike. And 3 A-10s, 4 Harriers, and 4 F-18 cap at the minute. And they've all got their own air refueler, and there's an AWACS from the carrier that takes off at the beginning as well. This would probably kill a server, but you know, for what I'm doing on here, it's running nice. Yeah, these are the F-14As. I think these are the only ones that are in the game actually. But I've got them in the demo black colour. I didn't want to put them as a US colour obviously, because these are meant to be the evil bad guys coming to destroy the good people, you know. But yeah, here they come. See, what these will do is these will backtrack. They go down that way, they turn around, then take off, and I've got some waypoints just ahead, and then they turn left and off they go. But it'd be good to see these take off actually. And I've set them up with a formation, a close right echelon formation when they're in the air. So I'm hoping that'll work out. It's a shame you can't get them to take off together as pairs. I don't know how to do that, or if you can do that, but that would look pretty awesome. Let's speed this up a little bit. I could have an AWACS for them taken off as well. I just don't want to stick too much in. I want to keep it, you know, you could really keep going and going and going before long. It's too much, you know. Yeah, I'll have to send Shifty a message or something and see if he has any idea. But it is nice trying to figure it out. I like the problem solving side, because you learn, don't you? You know, if you got someone saying, oh yeah, click this, click this, click this, you can do it, but you don't know why you're doing it or why that works, and so I'm a little bit hesitant. And off he goes. Oh, that's brilliant. And then the other one's backtracking. So I've tried to give, between the scramble and when they actually get on station, I've kind of given them a little bit of time to get there. Just to build that anticipation a bit. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, worked. Finally. Oh, yeah. Some people are just like seriously good at mission building, aren't they? I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible, but achieve what I need to achieve in making it the way that I'd like it. But you know, this is all about learning, really. Yeah, so he's off. And he's just waiting now. And now he's off, round the other way. So that must mean his, there's his buddy over there. Let's see if they actually formate properly like I want them to. This is supposed to be close echelon right, close group. And it looks like, yeah, that looks like that's good. He's trying to get there, isn't he? Yeah. Thing is, there's a lot of power in simplicity, you know. When I notice that when people try and overcomplicate things, it's just doesn't work. You know. Where it makes things a bit, it's forced, you know, and you miss the story and you miss the actual play of it, rather than, you know, oh, this will look clever and this will look clever, and, you know, it just doesn't. Let's see if he can catch up. He wants to, look. There we go. Now they're climbing away up into the clouds there. Oh yeah, and finally, eventually, but he gets there. There we go. Oh, it's nice when it works, isn't it? You know. So I've assigned them an altitude around 18 to 20,000 feet-ish. I think that's about right for a capped flight. Without doing any research on it, I've sort of estimated that, but and some of the stuff I've actually looked into it and how they generally would work it, but yeah, it's a shame they're not a higher detailed model, but there we go. Now that looks nice. Not long till we'll have ours. And this would be a regular thing, but with actual players. They are, you know, who doesn't love Top Gun, you know? Oh yeah, look at that. It's like in the Top Gun film, isn't it, when they got it against the sun and you see the silhouettes of the pilots in the cockpit, and it's just, you can hear the power of the engine, and it just looks, this thing just looks like it means business, you know. Absolutely great. Yeah, and they're flying along quite nicely, decent speed. Their angle of attack doesn't look ridiculous. And I've given them a couple of extra fuel tanks as well. So it gives a bit of lee room. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, they took off and they're off and they're following the what's it? And the other two are sat there until they're triggered, which is nice. I could put another one over there, but I don't want to push it. That would need to be something difficult, but yeah. And he launches from the carrier and then goes over to his station and orbits. He launches from the carrier as well. There you go, if the map actually spawns in. And he's off on station. And I've got this one as well for the A10s, which is going to be, I'm going to change the location of this. So it goes north. And then there's the other one for the Harrier. Or for the F-18s, whoever wants to use it. I'm going to move that slightly north as well, I think. And then down here is my carrier group. So I've got that flanked by a ton of shit. You know, I looked at pictures and they sort of have a certain way, don't they? Oh, wrong button. Which button is it for the... And there's my Stennis. So I've put some static aircraft on there, based on a picture I found of the actual Stennis. Then it's got 2 spots for 2 F-18s to spawn in. Then there's a ship ahead and there's one over there and a couple behind. Escorts. I think that looks quite realistic. There. Placing those things down took an absolute age. You know, absolutely, you know. And Miss Harmony 10, thank you very much for the donation, it's much appreciated. And that will go back into the stream and go towards improving and getting other assets to make it even better as time goes on. So I do appreciate that, that's very generous of you, thank you very much. Yeah, that's looking nice. It looks a bit better when there's something on it. And you get a sense of scale. I mean, that's a big, big ship. But yeah, you can still recover there, look. And those items follow the parking line there, the yeah, red and white stay behind lines. So yeah, coming on. And of course it's attack over here, this airfield, up the top. I forget which it's called now. It won't click, will it? No. But that one anyway, that's the baddie airfield that we fly over here to kill. There you go, didn't want to move then. So yeah, pleased with that trigger. Oh boy, has that been a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Right. So let's go back into... Yeah, there they are again. And they're now sort of following an orbit. And they're on cap station. So the cap flights will have to possibly go find them or have them come straight towards them. I need to look up and see what different things do, what if I can put it as cap or I have to put it as intercept. They're at a nice altitude now. Yeah, lovely, nice and noisy. Lovely and noisy. Cancel out of that. Go into that. Yeah, so there's those trigger zones. I think one of the issues I had with those is I put them as hidden. But am I going to be building missions eventually? Possibly not. This is taking so long. I've spent ages just getting it to this point, you know. So I've got waypoints in for all the flights. And a ton of targets here. Bit overkill, but you know, if you're going to put A10s in a mission, for instance, give them tons to shoot because they carry so many weapons, and then plenty of SAMs as well. But you got to get enough there for like, so there's enough for everyone. But yeah, interesting. So yeah, that's, I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? When you've done it 50 times, you can just go click, 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 done. But this is the first time I've ever used the editor, and yeah, it takes time, but I'll keep having other ideas, you know. So so I started off with the carrier, just going 2 F-18s going to the island there. And then I thought, well, they're going to need an AWACS, and they're going to need... Oh, let's stick in a refueler. Oh, okay, well, let's put a cap flight in then. Oh, right, let's put some more ground pound. They can get the rump, and you know, it just built... Oh, now we need some baddies in there. And it just kept building, you know, just keep going and going. You know? I'm not putting ground forces in. That's just beyond me. And I've got SA8s in. I haven't tried to put any of the complicated SAM nets in. I mean, you could make one, but I might stick a biggie over here, just to have a ring here across the bottom there, just to stop anyone from this side going too deep in there, and maybe one over here as well, just to keep the fight in this little strait. That might be a good idea. But just have it just so you can go in a little bit there, just to give a bit of play, and then have just that covered up. So you can go in there if you want, but you're going to get a world of trouble, you know. Yeah, also, or a nice big S300 site, you know. Those things are menacing. Those are difficult, especially as they're protected with IR SAMs as well if you get too close to them. So there's like 3 layers of problems with them. You know, the AAA as well. And we seem to get one with the Harrier, but it's just a nice little, you know, fear it and stay away kind of thing. But let's have a look here. So what next? So I've got those two going there. I might put another two a bit closer, and they get triggered by a certain amount of targets or something being taken, or destroying the runway. Once that goes, another two come out, so there's 6 in total for 4 Hornets. Might be pushing it a bit. So the idea is just to keep them coming, but not all at once. So the Harriers go in and trigger those two. Then A10s go in after. And they're slower, aren't they? Even though that's not a great distance. So once the SAMs are taken, the A10s take off and they trigger another two. So the Caps get busy with these two. Then another two get triggered. Move that over here, I think, just to keep them away from here a little bit. Then the A10s go in and those two are triggered, and the Cap have to deal with that. The Cap are 4. So you can have 2 take off, they take them, come back, another 2 go out, and they've got them. And then another, when you reach a certain point, another 2 or 3 come out, so all of them have to go in. But that might be pushing the luck a bit. Yeah, different conditions. So it's like you could have these two, and then if one of the Cap flight gets shot down, another one comes in, so then you got 3. So these 2 guys will have to go and join these 2 to get rid of the 3. Just you know, just get spanked a bit if you don't manage to kill your targets. But obviously, if you build too much into it, it's just kills. But something like that, maybe. I definitely want to put that SAMnet in. I definitely need, yeah, probably a couple of extras, so if there's any fail conditions, it escalates. So if you do well, you can manage it, but if you don't do well, it escalates, you know. I don't know performance wise if you can do that or if it's worth, you know, but all these ideas keep coming. So I've got, so what I want to do is, there's a tanker here, this one, that I need him to go north. So I want him to take off, pardon me, go up to here, and then we move that to about here, maybe. Or is that a bit close? Maybe here, like that, and then move 4 so you can come back in for a nice landing there. Just get him on a 45 degrees so it looks a bit nicer. Yeah, so he'll come along there. You won't see it, but I know it's there. And we've also, see, that's another one. So I'm wondering if he's a bit too, if that's a bit too far. So I could move them. Back here a bit. Maybe here. Just up the top there. They need to be near, don't they? But not too close. But they're at different altitudes anyway. And let's move that 4 over. Go there, and you can go on a straight out heading. Let's put that there. And then I've got this one here as well, which I think needs to be moved. So put that up there and have him sit about here. So you got the tankers in the similar area. Let's get him on a nice 45 degree there. Roughly, and then something like that. Get it straight. So I haven't got all the tankers there now. I've moved them over here. That's the ring for the ships. I've just put that in. That'll take like days to get around that, but. And he's running at 20 kilometers an hour. So maybe I should have a trigger for when these two, because I want the Harris to go in, then the A-10s to go in, 2 triggers, and then these guys to go in and bomb the airport, and then you could have another 2 come out, and then they're gone, and then everyone lands, and that's the end. That's kind of the idea. Maybe have like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But yeah. Yeah. I mean, the rearming thing, I mean, if you put tons of targets here, I mean, you've got to be careful how much of this stuff you're putting in, I guess. If it's static, i.e. not firing and things, you might get away with putting in more. So just have, yeah, maybe build this out a little bit. And I could turn that into like a little concentration camp area, couldn't I? You know, just in here. There's a fence that goes all the way around here. So it looks like it's an enclosure. And I've also got road bits there. I don't know how many targets you'd need. If you've got a few A-10s and a couple of Harriers, maybe dot some about the island, maybe a couple over here, Samnet there, and a couple here, and over here, and put a convoy down one of the roads heading towards the airfield, and they've got to stop them, and if they don't stop them when they get here, something happens. You know, like a resupply. Don't know. Yeah, plenty of opportunities. Plenty of ideas anyway, and that's kind of write my list and then see what I like. But I'd put it all in, I'd just keep going. So you know, if there wasn't any restrictions or time restrictions that you know, you could just make an absolute monster, couldn't you? I mean, look at Coffee's campaign with the Grim Reapers. That's huge. That was like a whole country covered in about 1 million SAMs, you know. So it's obviously you can stick an absolute fortress in there, but see, my story idea for this is like a separatist group have taken, or a terrorist group, and they're being have taken over this airfield and this island, and they're being supported by the Iranian government, who don't want a direct conflict, but they're using these guys to put a threat over into Oman and then through down into the UAE. So it's up to these guys to put an end to it. And that's kind of my story idea for when I started building, that I've developed, and just to think, okay, if that was the case, what would this be, what would that be, what would be needed. If you don't have that premise, if you haven't got a story in you, then you just go, okay, I'll just put that there, that there, that there, and I like a bit more purpose to it, But yeah. Alright, let's save. I always like to save just to make sure. Yeah, so they're going to go off over. They're going to take off that way, and then they head off. They come up to these points and head off north, and that's better. That's better. Over here, a bit more protected, and you've got the ships there as well. Let's see. Got too many things on this carrier now. Need to zoom in quite a bit. I mean, look at that. You got to follow the shape of the carrier. So there's the carrier's net, and then these ships make it that big. So if I move these down into this area, and these are all at different altitudes, so they're not going to hit each other. They're all covered by the ship net, which makes sense, doesn't it? At the end of the day, I mean, if you're going to have human red players, they'd have a field day. Especially if they're like the Grim Reapers guys, They're you'd have to make it a bit more tricky, perhaps, or at least set a lot of boundaries and some restrictions, just to make sure that everyone doesn't get shot down in the first 10 minutes. Yeah. But yeah, that's nice. Save. So let's get into, I'm going to stick a Hornet on the carrier now and take off from this mission and see how we're looking. So I can choose from a number of aircraft, but I'll choose the Hornet. Got to remember which one. There's a static aircraft I've got to move on the carrier because its nose. Got an F-14 whose nose, there, this one, right here, sticks out into this bit. So I need to angle him this way a bit. These ones. I need to change that name as well. Unit 33. I'll put the name of the carrier down. Press fly. See, and as soon as you load in, you've got a takeoff going on, so it feels active, and the carrier's rocking and rolling. There's like a 5 meters per second wind. Plus you've got the haze, the foggy bits, and the clouds are a bit naff, aren't they? Because they only go so far. But when you're here, it looks alright. And I've based all that on real world weather. So I've looked at the weather that you'd get at this particular time and found something that looked half decent. There he goes. And he's off. Nice steam effects as well on the carrier. You can actually see the carrier just rocking there. It's not a great deal, but it's enough to make you think I'm at sea. And you got the sound of the engines as well. Yeah, there he goes. Look. There goes the blast doors. And he's going to take off. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm surprised how well they've done the catapult and also the hook arrested wires. It really does feel pretty good. Right, he's off. So I've obviously got an armament already on here. Mark 84s, 5 of them, and a couple of self-defense AIM 9Ls. Yeah, and he's off. So, start my cheat. Have some coffee. But it actually sounds quite soothing. I like that white noise like you get with fans and things, you know. Yeah. So the 84s are for getting rid of a runway. That's the idea. And they do make a nice big dent. So, you know. There it goes. But because it's like, you know, the UAE, the Persian Gulf is so hot in the morning. You know, it's like 31 degrees at 6 AM. You know, it's so the engine runs a bit hot. About 800 degrees. And obviously I've put in a realistic pressure setting, and I've got wind that escalates as you go up in altitude, a bit of turbulence in there as well. You see it mostly when you're low level. It's little wobbles and things, but I like that realism factor, you know. So that go for its self-test.
Flight control. Flight control.
When the canopy comes down, be a lot quieter. Let's turn that down so it looks more realistic. There come the wings. Going for a bit test. There's probe will come up and go down. And the speed brake. Launch bar at the front. Yeah, I don't know if there's a mission tonight. Actually, I don't think so. I think Cat might be having a day off, but I haven't checked, to be honest. You know, after yesterday with a low turnout, I think it bummed everyone out, to be honest. But then it was Saturday, and it's been getting low on a Saturday anyway. No mission tonight, Cap's day off. By the looks of it, some people are just doing their own thing. There's no announcement, there's no one in there, is there? Some people flying in the public lobby. But yeah, no mission tonight, unfortunately. And there'll be a couple of days in the week, I think Cap's off, so there'll be none then either. And so we might have one tomorrow, but not Tuesday, Wednesday. Tuesday's armour anyway. Just have to see when the announcement comes, I think. Right, so let's see if I can get this over to the catapult. Oh, too much. Yeah, I put a bit too much throttle then, and it was skidding me across the deck. Oh, not doing very well, I might. See that it's just because I put too much in. It's wow, that's tetchy. I don't remember it being that bad. Let's see if I can get that going again. There we go. Oh, that's a bit better. It's hard to do because I've got a slider for a throttle. I've got my finger on the high and I'm moving the joystick with two fingers. I really need to get a throttle at some point. That might make a bit of sense. Right, let's see if I can bring it round again. Keep that straight. See, after landing you hit the S key and the high gain stays on, but before you have to hold it down. Which is kind of strange. Probably another bug or something like that, or it's designed that way, I don't know. I'll get a bit of speed up, not too much. There we go, that's looking a bit nicer. Hard to get straight because you've got all that back end. And of course, there we go. Right, let's see if I've gone too far. There we go. Really hard to judge unless you're looking outside. And that ramp's come up. Alright, let's do a takeoff. So I'm going to do burners, so hold the paddles down, which is a bit weird. I'm not going to touch the stick until I'm off the deck. Here we go. Gear up. Flaps up. There's one of the ships. Let's go and pass it. There's another one up here as well. That's annoying, that. I need to turn that down. Yeah, there's another ship there, look. Protecting the fleet. That carrier. So if I now stick it on waypoint, you see, sequence and auto, let's get the RWR on. Yeah, I don't know where that's headed. Well, I've got to press. There we go. That's better. I did it. I should have done it on the carrier. We're coming back round to the right. There we are. Stay down a bit. Get the burners out. Right, let me just stick this in there. Sight, and then you can use the heading select and get that right round onto that line, and now you can hold that altitude and steer it via that. Yeah, it sounds really great, doesn't it? Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, well, the Harrier doesn't even tell you when you're being fired on. It just says you've got a lock. Move, you know. Yeah, it's nice, all the different sounds and things, and the atmosphere in the cockpit is actually really nice. And the more that realism grows, you can suspend your disbelief for a lot longer, you know. High levels of verisimilitude in all these media really does pull you in. And you know, I find that you just by adding a simple thing like a little bit of weather, a few clouds, and some wind, and a little bit of turbulence, just grows it even more into a more realistic flying experience. So, you know, yeah. Yeah. It's more like you get a tone and then kaboom, and oh yeah, someone fired a missile at me then. Yeah. There we are. Now I'm not sure about these clouds, you know, if there's something you can add in to make it go over the whole map, if there's a tweak for it or a fix. Because you fly out of it and then they disappear completely. And I like that. You know, you don't always fly on a hot summer's day in perfect conditions, you know. You have a certain amount of visibility, there's a haze obviously, there's certain clouds, there's different weather shifts, a bit of turbulence here and there, some harsh, some light. It's never a perfect flying condition. And that's you know, it's the imperfections, I think, that make it seem realistic. But yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm enjoying doing this. You know, I'm not going to get anywhere near that airfield today because there's SA-8s around it. But it's just nice to just have a little fly in the Hornet and just go and have a look at the Persian Gulf scenery and fly the waypoints to see where they take you and if I can adjust them to make it look a bit nicer. Yeah, that sun beating down there. You can even sense, I think, you know, this would be a hot place. It's just got that air about it. Yeah, apparently the harms are coming out in the F-18 soon. Don't know timescale. I think there was meant to be a ton of updates coming for the F-18 as well. We already had some the other day in that whopper of a 9 gig download. But from what I hear, there's some more coming. I think Auntie was saying there's more coming up as well. I think she's heard it. So we'll have to see what it brings. Yeah. Some fixes. I mean, it's like the radios on here. Whether I'm doing something wrong. Oh no, it's working now, but sometimes that doesn't work. There you go, look. 252 000 enter, and just reverts back to 305. One two seven 500 enter. See, that's stuck, so it doesn't like the 25. So let's see what I've got on here. Let's try a frequency 252, see if I can get that in there. 252 not enter. No, it just goes back. No idea. Yeah, the especially for performance, but I mean, if you're getting a massive card, no problems there whatsoever, you know. Yeah, that's annoying. I wonder why it's doing that. 252 000. It just won't go in. See, sometimes you can't input anything, sometimes it won't take it, sometimes you've got to switch. I find going to that and putting 2 there, and then going back sometimes. No idea. Yeah, see, when you look down the moving map, obviously you can't make out anything on there with that green. Not for my eyes anyway. Turn down the brightness a bit. Doesn't really make, so it just goes off. Doesn't really make any difference whatsoever. Wait for that to come back up. There you go. So if I stick it in night, it dims the line. And if you, but day just makes that brighter again. So it dims some of it, but not all of it. Kind of weird. So let's head over this way. See, where we're going at the minute is just there's a few points of interest, but obviously it's a desert, isn't it? You know, not as many roads, not as many areas. But it's strange, isn't it, that you've got all this desert and then in the middle of it is a nice little suburb with trees. Or a industrial zone, you know. Let's go over this way. Have a look at this one. There's quite a big area there, just a load of AI stuff. And there's a road, nice. You know, I'm sure the roads in this area are absolutely humongous. Just going for miles and miles and miles and miles. You can turn it on in the HSI. OSB. So what do we want? Mode? So on this bit here, let's have a look what we've got. Data. I'm not sure what the that's 10, 5, 15. That was 18. if you turn the map there we go. So what should we put in this one then? Stores. Okay, let's go back down. Get back on track a bit. Yeah, so there we go. Map down the bottom. FCS to the right. You can take that off now. Have the EW on that. It's a shame that's behind the stick. That's just got a line through it now. Not sure what that does. HMD, any ideas? Meow. So, yeah. Nice and fast across the desert. Let's turn that down. Get that right down there. I'm not going that low. So we've got some power lines here and a bit of a harbour area. Motorways, highways, whatever they call them. In towards the skyscrapers here in the residential areas on the map. It's a nice bit of sea there, which is on high settings of course. That looks nice. Let's keep to the line there. More buildings. Square, everything's square, isn't it, in blocks. With some circular shapes in the middle by the looks of it. Okay, let's turn this way. See what so what happened is you sort of fly this way after everyone's gone in with their Harriers, A10s, cat flights, busy, and you just come in a little bit later and go straight down that runway, drop all your bombs on it, and the other guy drops all his bomb on the apron and destroys all the concrete. And you have utter destruction. Is that backspace, is it? Oh yeah, there we go. Ah, that's handy, isn't it? I keep forgetting it does that. I'm not sure if I've got an ECM in there or not. Let's put that on receive anyway. What's this one? Auxiliary release switch. No idea what that does, so I'm not going to press it. You hit that and suddenly the seat just goes straight out the cockpit. Yeah. Yeah, just my luck. come all this way, accidentally flick a switch and the whole plane just disintegrates around you, you know. Oh dear. Oh, let's move over. See, it's like all that haze, yeah, that's so Persian Gulf, that is. Straight off the METARs. And this is actually with good visibility. 6,000 metres, yeah. I looked at one METAR at like 6 in the morning and it had like 3,000, 4,000 metres visibility. Lower cloud. About 800 feet. It's about 1,500 feet the cloud when I started off, but look, nowhere to be seen now. Just gone. And you see a little bit of shake there from the turbulence. It's not very strong, but just gives that little impression of going through bubbly air. So you know, the long-range strike is, for some people you'd find it boring, you know, because it's, you're just sitting flying along, You're in, you strike, you're out. There's no loitering or messing about with some of this. You know, like the tornadoes do. You know, they go in there, hit, and run away again. And you're going to be fast and low. And I kind of like all that. You know, I like the airliner flying, so you get a little bit of that in here, and then you get to bomb stuff, and then you get to go home again. Hopefully. I don't mind missions like that, you know. Fast and Furious is fun sometimes, but not for every time. Yeah, that's the thing. I can do that. Oh, and FSX, I did the PMDG 777, and I looked for the longest flight with 21 hours, and I once sat there and did the whole thing in one sitting. Like almost an entire day just on autopilot, you know. Yeah, it's good to do, isn't it? It's getting to know the map and where you are and what you're doing. And there should be an island coming up here, or a ship or something. This route goes over a couple of islands with runways on, so if you were in and you had to wait, you could orbit, and if you're on low on fuel, you could just land at one of those on the way, get some fuel, and take off again. You know, contingency planning. But you also get to do a bit of sightseeing. Yeah, but here's a ship here, nice big tanker. It's those little touches which are nice, although obviously it's not moving. If that was just chugging along at a couple of knots, it would look a bit better, but that's going to take performance, isn't it? And also, like, the sea comes across as clear, you know. Oh yeah, the C101. I haven't got that one, but yeah, it's just nice just to do a bit of sightseeing, isn't it? And I haven't seen a lot of it. I've flown around a few times, but still got lots to explore. I like the mountainous areas. There's a nice airfield up there, surrounded by the mountains, which I think is really nice. You know, and you take off over the sea. Look great in videos and things. And also, you know, you get to do a little test out when you're building this stuff and see what you see on the way. There's another ship. Not intentional, but there we are. Containers. Yeah. And there's one of the islands. There's the tiny island. And there's the airstrip on it. I think that's the one we did with the Harrier flights before, yeah. Tiny, that one. Right, let's turn right. There we go, it's the E2. Over to, so he's in place. By the time you get out here, the assets are in place and everyone's taking off and getting into position. It just feels like a beginning, you know. Yeah, it's nice little touches, isn't it? It's like I put on ED forums, I'd like to see more signs of life. You know? So, it's about having the parked cars and the ships and the pleasure boats that are static, obviously, but and just, you know, even tracks in the sand, in the ground, in mud, just to show that people have been there and seen it, and maybe some like you'd probably see in a war-torn area, you know, some rubble and some damaged buildings already in there, and So it's not completely vanilla, and it doesn't feel like you're in the post-apocalyptic utopia. Yeah, airliners flying over would be good. Or nearby in the distance, just see a contrail going over. But that obviously takes performance, and not everyone would be able to run it because lower spec systems. But you know, for those of us with slightly better systems, it would be really great. But yeah, it's a balance, isn't it? So obviously I can't run in and shoot the runway without getting shot down, because you've got to be, with these bombs it says, you know, you've got to be about 1500 feet when you drop them. Obviously this is a nice little run-in, coming in fast and low. Got 97% on the engine, 700 C, and that's giving me 456 knots. So obviously when this aircraft's loaded, it's slow, you know. If you stick the burners on, you can kiss goodbye to your fuel. So you've just got to keep that in mind. Yeah, it looks great out here. You know, if you had a wingman or two now, that would look pretty impressive, I think. Come across there. Yeah, it's nice you see that little wobble from that slight bit of turbulence. Oh, I do like that. It might even be more pronounced if you're over the sea because of the way the wind is, you know. Maybe not. But also because this is an F-18 with fly-by-wire and things, maybe that's a little bit more realistic to keep it light. There's Iran, there's the spit of land there. So we've flown over from that side to this side, and it's not far once you get up to the northern bit, look. But further south you can't see any land anymore, but the northern point, I think that's north or east. One of the two. East, isn't it? Eastern point is more north. So this is my idea anyway. You just come in nice and low in a Hornet and bomb the bejesus out of the thing. Let's arm this anyway. So you go CCIP. Nose, and then I want delay 1, and I want to be able to see that I've got the cross, so I'm too low. It wants you up here, look. It wants your flight path vector on the top of that, and that puts you up at about 1500 feet on the ingress, which would be silly. Oh, come back. So there you go, lots of alarms now. So is that telling me there's a launch? Probably. Let's get the speed up. So we've got Mach 9.5. Oh, that's when you don't want lag, isn't it? Don't know what happened there. That's a bit of an annoying tone, isn't it? So I'm coming right over on there. See if I get hit. Yeah, there we go, boom. But no damage. That's weird. It killed me, but not the aircraft. Boom. Well, we got pretty close. That's not that bad. So that was a spike tone, and then the other one was the launch warning. So I haven't heard those before, so that was nice. Yeah, look, he's getting over into his area now. See, the clouds are back, but not over there. But they are over there. Yeah, he's going north, look. There's some cloud, look, not there, but there. Bit weird. Yeah, and he's oh, he's already on station by the looks of it. See, look, if I've cloud in, that's going to make interesting, isn't it? You've got to form up and fly through clouds. Might be need to be a bit higher or a bit lower. He's charging along it. Obviously these guys haven't been triggered because I wasn't flying in the Harrier. Yeah, there you go. It takes a while for it to load in sometimes. Oh, I didn't notice that before. All those containers there, look. With the fire engine and the mosque. There's a few objects. Yeah, look at this, look, two mountains right in the valley there. You can hear the wind now. About 4 or 5 meters per second. Nice environment sound. But you don't usually get to hear that because of the aircraft engines, of course. Yeah. There's only one more space for an aircraft, and that's over there, so I was thinking about putting something in there, but probably not. Just keep it like that, that's nice. It's kind of menacing. All ready to scramble. And they're empty until that trigger, and then the pilots get in, start it up and go. Which is more realistic, you know. You want them to do the start up and things, but yeah, happy with that. Cancel that. So anyway, guys, that's my live stream for now over, and thank you very much for watching, and thanks for Shifty for the host. Good to see you, Wrecking Ball. I'll probably be on a bit later on. I might try and find some F-18 something or other to do with the mission in a few hours time. I just need to go and have some dinner and have a drink and have a little watch a little bit of telly, I think, for an hour or so. And then once I've found a little mission, I'll put the stream back up in a few hours time, so watch out for that. And thank you to Miss Harmony again for the donation, much appreciated. And thank you to everyone that's watched, and I'll see you again soon. Take care, bye bye.